It's me, the money man of mystery. Your big bad buddy, Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the planes. How about the dossier of the vials? How about Saddam? How about his trials? How about the Bin Laden terrorist fighters? How about al-Nusra Front? How about Al-Qaeda? How about the Goyim children dying in the streets? How about Greater Israel? How about the Goyim children starving at my feet? How about Greater Israel? It's me, the Rothschild puppet master, Epstein, the high-level disaster forecaster. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the claims. How about we feed you full of news? How about we trade you, we tell you what is true? How about we herd you, lead you to our proof? How about we train you to be some and samba Jews? It's me, your Zionist zaddy, your big bad buddy Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers. Oh, the blood's our vows. We take back what is ours. We win the final war. We take back what is ours. We create greater Israel. We take back what is ours. We win the final war. How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about the international money man of mystery? King of Greater
Hello, my friends, and welcome. Glad to have you with me. I am laid back. I got slightly different setup, trying to get comfortable, to be perfectly honest. And we're here for Inside the Trial of Bill Gates. It's not just going to be me live. I'm back in the UK, and I've managed to edit some of me bits from while I was out in Amsterdam. And most of it is in good condition. Most of it, I have to say, there's probably 2 minutes an interview with Joseph Sansone where the background noise was really loud. But other than that, what we're going to do is we're going to look behind the scenes at what was going on at the trial. I'm also done something I've dubbed the first 20 minutes of the trial. It was, of course, in the Netherlands, so it was in Dutch. I've dubbed that into English so that you can get an essence of the case and you can understand what's going on in the case. I want to thank everybody for turning up. I'm super excited about this because it was a very interesting trip in general. The whole thing was very, very interesting indeed. I'm going to put on my glasses. Whap, there you go. Oh, good. Nice to see you all here. Oh, good, good, good. I'm excited. I know my camera has slipped down a little bit, like the evil sort of cameras that they are nowadays. They have a mind of their own. And I'm nice to see everybody here. Got Katie. Hello. Nice to see you, of course. Christopher Thornton. Howdy and yes. And how are you today? Glad to see you here. Glad to see everyone. And yes, I am safe. I am safe. There was a couple of moments. I have to say, there was a moment I'm really open and honest about my experience. I always am. Super open and honest. I think I got approached by Russians while I was in Amsterdam. I'll just say that. There was a very weird moment with Olga, who didn't buy anything in the cafe she was in. She came in to get my contact details and left again. It was very, very, very dodgy, but we'll talk about that another time. And I've had another Olga in the past couple of years who did roughly the same thing, but did some weird stuff with it too. Wanted me to pretend to be one of the grey zone and go on Russian TV with Blurred. I'll tell you that another time. I've told it somewhere before. Fiona, hello. Hello, nice to see you. Of course, I think that's who I'm just speaking to on messages as well. And Eileen is here. It's good to see you here. It's good. Hopefully there'll be a regular show coming back soon, Eileen, if you're interested. Just saying. Might happen. And there was definitely a couple of suspect people. Yeah, there was a couple of suspect people, but the person who approached me was in 420 Cafe while I was having a smoke in Amsterdam. And it was very interesting, but like I say, but there was suspicious people. And of course, some people... she's saying, yes, it's me with an epic moment in history to be witnessed. Of course, Ruby Gem for Freedom here. She was there too. And there was a couple of moments where there was really suspect things happening. The speaker situation was really suspect. That was really because basically there was certain times where we couldn't hear any of the speaker, the sound in the courtroom. The speaker was popping in a way that seemed like, it's a high court. It shouldn't have these sort of issues. But literally the people within the court were complaining and they had to keep stopping it for the first part. And it felt like it felt a bit contrived, to be honest. But anyway, what would you expect? Okay, thanks. I would like to know more on suspect people. Well, we all do, Katie. We all do. And so what I'm going to do today is I've been hard at work editing and trying to get the sound right and mixing up a couple of things and dubbing a few things. I wanted to come on last night. I was actually hoping to do this live last night, but it was just, I gave myself way too much work. It actually took all day to finish editing these clips and doing the little bits to them, adding a little bit of extra. I've tried to make sure that it's as clear as possible and that everything is correct, especially the translations, etc. It was quite hard being in Dutch, especially when the speaker weren't working in the courtroom. That was quite hard because, of course, you can't hear it, but it was already in Dutch. And I'm reading as well. I was taking notes as well. And they had promised that we could have a translation app. And then they pulled that promise away at the last minute and said, oh, okay, it's being streamed live, so you don't need a translation app. But the people in the courtroom who didn't speak Dutch couldn't understand it. So it seemed like a bit of a ploy and a bit of a trick, to be perfectly honest. Did you go to the Vanco? No. This was my 10th time in Amsterdam because I'm a smoker. So, I mean, you're not a smoker in this. And Amsterdam is like from London. If you hop on a London plane, it's like 45 minutes to Amsterdam, so it's like the perfect place to go. So I have been to the museums around here before, but not for a very long time, I gotta admit, because every time I go, I like a smoke. But this time it was work. There was work. Hello, Flux Capacitor. Nice to see you. I posted up a little video. I've got a couple of these videos. The ones that were in the square, in the museum square. I know a couple of you, including Flux Capacitor, saw it, which was on the Can I Eat Your Dog kill, which I thought was quite funny. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to come across anybody, and then there was just a load of people protesting. I'll post up another one of those in the next couple of days, which is actually the return of the Shah, because there was also an Iranian protest there for the return of a Shah to Iran, and it was really a contrived protest. It was funny to look at. It was the monarchists hanging around, and there was a few other things going on in the square. I took a couple other images. What we're going to do today is we're going to watch what happened at the court. I've tried to mix it in right. I've tried to cut up certain bits, so you're not seeing necessarily all of it. I've had to cut out the bits in Dutch here and there that won't make any difference anyway, and try and keep the most important bits in. The whole video that we're going to watch, the whole scene is about an hour. I'm going to stay in the chat the whole time if you want to ask any questions, and then afterwards I'm going to come back and we'll have a good question and answer session. If you pick up anything in this where you think, oh, I want to ask a question about that, or I'm not sure about this, or you want to know more information, because this is a complex case. Let me tell you how it works. This is the trial of Bill Gates. This was part of an ongoing trial. Trials don't take 1 or 2 days, of course. And this part of the trial relates to another trial that's happening in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, you can sue someone, and you don't have to sue the company if they represent a company. You can sue the person. That's a really important difference compared to the other countries. In other countries, you sue like JP Morgan, and Staley and all of those get off with their crimes, and JP Morgan does a payout, and so no one is really held accountable. The company just pays off. And so it's just like a form of payoff then. And then there's no justice. We know there's no justice then. And the feeling of lack of justice will come up again and again during this. And they want to push this to a trial, but for that, they need to get expert witnesses to be able to testify, and they've refused at least 5 witnesses the right to testify. Those witnesses include Sasha Latypova, Joseph Sansone, Mike Eden, Catherine Austin Fitz, and Catherine, I'm forgetting her name now, but she's I'm pretty positive that Fee will know her name. Catherine, it's escaping me. Regardless, these are really important voices within this debate. These are people who bring something special to the table. What they're saying is, on behalf of these people who have been injured, and I've met some of the people who were injured by the vaccines at this case. Catherine Webb. There you go. Thank you very much. Catherine Webb, legal analyst, expert on international law too. One of the things that's being said on this, which I think is extremely important, in this case is beautiful for this. Really what they're saying is, you didn't use a vaccine, you used a countermeasure for biological warfare attack, which means that should have been what we were told, really. And if you look at the details, including things like furin cleavage site and stuff like this, you start to realize that, well, it came from Wuhan. They didn't, I got to be honest, they kept away from the details. Like, there's no point in, when you're in a case, arguing over 1 or 2 details, like whether it came from a wet market or whether it came from a lab. Because if you get into those details at this point, then you don't get to the first ability to get justice. Though you don't get to the chance to have justice because you're too busy arguing over the details of something else. But those details can be established later with entrance of evidence and discovery into the case. And this is why cases like this are really important, because they allow discovery to be put on the record. That's massively important. Christopher Thornton says, Bill Gates has a lawsuit against him in Palm Beach, Florida, too. What a snake in the grass. Indeed, in actual fact, in Florida, Sansone is also, Joseph Sansone, who's in this, is also taking a case in Florida against because of the vaccine, on behalf of the vaccine injured. He's been doing that for quite a while now. It's been going on for quite a while. Wouldn't be surprised if that's him. Yes, no, that's it. It's not Catherine Webb. It's Catherine what? Not Webb. You got Webb on the mind. I've had that before. For those who know, that's an inside joke anyway. Yeah, what? Not Webb. Thinking of Whitney. Well, that does happen, but I had a baby with Whitney, so that's a bit different. Anyway, getting on. So the court case at the moment has stalled a little bit because they won't allow this testimony. It's very important for this testimony to happen. And so this Court of Appeal case, what I could gather, because at first it was very confusing, to be honest. Excellent. Hello, Paula. Really nice to see you. There's another person who's based over that way. Wait a minute. And here we go. We got another one. It was free meat sandwich, pangolin, snake in a bat. That's probably true. There was a lot of rubbing. They all rubbed their bits together, and boom, you got yourself a few in cleavage site right all over you. Okay, so the jokes aside, this case really was to say we were lied to in many different ways, and really the agenda was COVID-19 and the Great Reset. Now, there's 18 defendants. It's not just against Bill Gates. There's 18 defendants, and they were advised by the court, not forced, but advised by the court that they could turn up and they could defend themselves. Of course, they didn't. Who thinks Bill Gates is going to turn up to this trial if you can avoid it? It would turn into a circus. I mean, that would be. We know who these people are. We know what they do. I mean, do not be naive. Do not deceive yourself in believing that suddenly, they're going to put themselves within the firing line. He will avoid anything like this. He will have to be forced. The last time he was forced, and this is really interesting. The last time he was forced, it was David Bowie, who's heavily involved in manipulating and covering up the Epstein case, and was also involved with Harvey Weinstein and that Kissinger blood company that was set up and all of the other negative things. When Bill Gates got taken to court in the late 90s, that was David Bowie who is against it. And I think they put people who they can control in as representing both sides. That's what we know they do. And so it's amazing. It's always this very small group of people who all are mates with Epstein in some way or worked with Epstein. Bowie, who we know that Bradley Edwards, who is also one of the Pottinger's, was Pottinger's partner and is an Epstein victim lawyer. We know that he checked through the evidence. He says this in Relentless Pursuit, his book. He checked through the evidence and discovered David Bowie's name, and a thing to call him back had been found in the trash pools at Epstein. So Epstein was in communication with David Bowie too. That's very interesting. But Bill Gates, the idea that he's going to suddenly turn up and accept that he's going to potentially go to jail, that is ridiculous. We know that's not going to happen. So he has to be forced into it. We know he has to be forced into it. For that, the testimony has got to be as tough as possible, as well as hit the nail on the head. And some of the people involved in this are people who know how to hit nails right on the head. They don't mess about. Joseph Sansone, if you speak to him, he is an expert. He talks straight down the line. Sasha Latypova, if you talk to her, she's an expert. She's straight down the line. She's extremely impressive. Mike Yeadon, he is one of the most impressive men When I hear him speak, it's amazing. I've had the pleasure to interview Joseph Sansone before on TNT. I had the pleasure to interview Sasha Latypova multiple times, and Sasha is a very lovely person. Me and Sasha also have a combined bugbear in Robert Malone, who has plagiarized from both our works and not given us credit. And we both a little bit fed up of that, because Robert Malone is sus as they come, as sus as they come. But Sasha Latypova is she's an expert. When she says stuff, it's like straight down the line. Mike Eden, me when I was in Chile with Whitney. It was about 2022, late 2022, early 2023. Mike Eden got in contact with me. He had read the Welcome 5 article, and he wanted to speak to me because he said like a load of the stuff in there had really just triggered him straight away, because he had been there at that time and he remembers all of those people. And so he was really interested in certain parts of that, and he was amazed by it, he said. So he wanted to have a conversation with me. And we had a conversation, me and Mike Eden, and Whitney came in as well to it, for about, it must be about an hour and a half. And it was extraordinary. He explained something to me that I had never quite understood before. He explained the difference between the old type of chemical compounds used for pharmaceuticals, how basically every single combination and what they do was discovered. And then that's led to the creation of mRNA tech and other forms of RNA tech to take the place, because the big pharma won't make any money on old medicine now once the patents all run out. And that's basically it. You know, the new technology they have to be on board with it. That's it. Martin Levy says, are we talking coercion, Johnny? I'm not sure. It depends. Coercion, what part did I mention then? Smart people, says Imagine that. Yes, they are. Just say which type of what you were mentioning. I'll remember it. Yeadon is all heart my favorite. He's so bloody clever. He's also is some people I speak to who have just got kind hearts and just shine out kind hearts. Talking of one of those, look, Tim Hinch. Tim Hinch lifted us up just as I'm thinking about kind-hearted people. What a surprise. Malone plagiarized my work as well. Malone. Well, listen, I got to be honest. It's probably his wife. Because I got to tell you a secret here, something that only a lot of the insiders know, is Malone is a little puppet. Malone isn't really a person. Malone is a small autistic boy trapped in a big man's body, and his wife works for the CIA and pushes him around by all what other people tell me. I've been looking into some of that, and I'm very interested in it because it seems to make a lot of sense. He's high functioning, he's pretty clever, but he is, as Martin Levy says, Malone equals wrong'un. Yes, indeed. Mike Eden is a smart dude. I learned 100% a lot from him. He's not only just a smart dude, he really is a really just you could tell he's kind. Sasha Latypova, Alexandra Sasha Latypova, Sasha is amazing. She is a force to be reckoned with. Do not get in her way. I'd say that. Yes. Wow. And Malone does love his horses. Yes, they do. They trot around with his little helmet on. They do. They trot around with his little helmet on. Listen, without further ado, we should get into this. I hope that the stream goes well, because, you know, I doing live streams with videos and stuff. Sometimes my systems aren't fast enough for that and the like. There's a good guy, Alhambra Quire. Hello, Johnny and chat. Is the complaint from people damaged by vaccines? Yes. Who are directly accused? Yes. So the people who are damaged, I met a few of them who are damaged by vaccines, and they're saying that they feel tricked, that the vaccine wasn't safe and effective, and really this is an agenda that's COVID-19 is a great reset agenda that is basically what we all know it to be. So they're saying, I mean, it's pretty like I say, these people hit the nail on the head. Catherine Austin Fitz is potentially could give testimony too, and she's a pretty big hitter as well. You know, I'm 50-50 about Catherine Austin Fitz over just for things in the past. But and it's very interesting. She was part of the George H.W. Bush administration. I'm not sure if I ever could trust anyone for that, but I know that she had some weird thing happen to her in her past that I only discovered recently, and it's very interesting. Anyway, we'll discuss that on another day. Let's get into it. I will be in the chat the whole time. There's sections to this, so we'll start out with a little intro. Like I say, I've dubbed 20 minutes of the intro of the trial into English, so you can all hear what Peter Stassens, who was the advocate, as they call it, the solicitor, 4 of Gates and et al. Solicitors turned up. So there was legal representation from the other side. The only thing they said during that entire time was the vaccines are safe and effective. So there you go. That's their defense. And even their own people are saying that's not true now. So I don't know how justice is going to allow for that. I've had a couple of interviews with people. I hope this all works out well. Daniel Lagasse, high level, really opened me up to the effects of mRNA on human genome. Thanks for that one. Actually, if you can send me a link somewhere, just so I remember that, I wouldn't mind that. I have a lot of things that go on in my mind all at once. And welcome to Happy Hellish Death Racer too. Let's do this, my friends. Let's do this. Catherine Austin Fitz is 50-50 for me. I listen to her, but casually, yeah. I don't know. I also have to give people the benefit of the doubt because, you know, like anybody in the world, at times I can be hot-headed and I can make decisions up on the fly, or I can get the wrong, get someone wrong. So I'm willing to have my mind change. I am willing to have my mind change, but I think 50-50 for me too. Gigilin. I was totally exiled by my family for telling this years ago. I know. A lot of us had people turn their backs on us. The conversations I was having in Amsterdam, because I was in Amsterdam. I had booked 2 days before and 2 days afterwards. So this went on in Amsterdam, and I'm a smoker. I went around to the coffee shops. I talk with absolutely everyone. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a non-stop talker, but I love talking. It's like with my community, I talk with everybody. Everybody knows me where I live, and I really mean everybody. It's a bit ridiculous. It's probably a bit annoying for everybody else, but I love to talk to people, and we were having really brutal conversations, and I was amazed at the response. The response was a load of people saying, yes, I believed it at the start, what they said, and they tricked me right up. They tricked me and they fooled me. There was only one person I met who was resistant, and suddenly she was not able to say, because she didn't feel comfortable about saying that she was pro-vaccine, because everybody else was anti-vax. Not in this court case. I'm just talking in the bar, cafe, the 420 cafe I was in. Everybody was like honest about it, yet most of them had had their shot at the start and been tricked at the start. It's a very interesting phase we've got to now, because a lot of them have heard about the negative ills, and it's really broken down their illusion of this protective state that will look after you. And of course, we've had other things that have done that as well. I am going to go through a couple more messages. You know what I'm like. I'm sorry. Malone attacked me on Twitter a few years ago. Yeah, yeah, he's like a silver badger. I kept the screenshot. It's hilarious. I always like a hilarious screenshot. Phony Maloney. Oh, that's dangerous. Hello there. Live with me to no measure. How are you? Excellent. Happy Hellish Death Racer, nice to see you around and making trouble. Tim, so do I. That's where the story ends. I just hate this place so much sometimes. Yes, I know. I wonder what was put in me. I was jabbed in order to keep my job with a Fortune 4 company. Do you know, I met Heiko Schöning while I was over there. Me and him, we got on really well. He's a German. I think someone called him the German David Icke, you know, but he's not. He's not like he's a doctor, a psycho-oncologist. So it helps people deal with cancer and stuff. You know, if you got cancer, a lot of the time people die of the giving up, basically. And it's hard to get through the treatment. You have to have a psychological fortitude. So that's what he does. So he's a very clever man. He's very, you know, he watches you carefully, looking for signs of you telling him a lie or trying to mislead him. He's a very clever man. He's very. We got on really well. I went to meet up with him. I was going to have 45 minutes conversation with him. 5 hours we talked non-stop, me and Heiko. He was a very interesting fella, and he goes, what was I going to say? I was related to this. He gave me a load of books, including One Nation Under Blackmail in German. His publishing company is the one that's printed it in hardback. It's beautiful. I'll get it. So by the end of this, I'll show you the copy. He's actually made a different cover for it and stuff, and it is absolutely beautiful. And it was really, really because you know, I saw Whitney write that. You know, I saw her go through that. And that was her breaking her back to do that. I helped in researching for the second volume, little tiny bits of the first, mainly dismissive research as well, stuff just to check if it's true or false, you know. But for the second part, I wrote a couple of bits, especially the Youngman bits. And I got to research for a lot of that, including, again, dismissive, a lot about things that didn't go on there that then later led to the Epstein 101 series and the Pottinger series and all the other things. So it kind of helped me out as well. The whole process was, writing 2 books at the same time with such detail was wild, and she had to make sure everything was perfect so no one could beat it down. That was really hard. So he gave me one of the books, but he also gave me these 2 books about the COVID, the final reports on the COVID-19 vaccine killing, basically the deaths that come from it. And he gave me 2 copies. So I said, I only need 1. And he said, no, give 1 to someone else. You'll realize, you'll come across someone and they'll say, oh, I need to understand this more. And that night, I met him, then I went over to a cafe and I had it in my bag. So I have a bag on with this book in, about all of the books in it. And I met this lady who was from Scotland, who was there with her husband. And she was a nurse, and she had been forced to take the first one and was really, really bitter about it now, and was trying to convince people of the harms, but was having trouble. And she's right in the hospital, and she was like balls out. And I realized, when he said, give it to someone, this is the lady I got to give it to. I didn't even have to leave Amsterdam now, because that's how much people are questioning it. It's happening all around the place. People know. The majority of people I speak to admit they only had 1. They knew after 1. They didn't want to go any further after 1. So, I mean, times are changing. I'm going to go for a couple here. Definitely. I want to see that Happy, him and one of Naomi's have the same story. One of the Naomi's. Which one? Naomi Wolf. Laugh a lot. It's really funny. Laugh out loud even. I'll see if I can leave it in the comments. Okay, do it. He works for the defense agencies, doesn't he? Yes. I think his wife does. Some laughing. Look, Iran Vankera. Iran will prevail. Greetings from Mexico. I tried to keep up with your ample journalistic production. Excellent. You'll like tomorrow. You'll be interested to see what this like small group of. It was really contrived. It was fake. The monarchists, the Iranian Shah supporters. That was really fake, man. It did not look real. I'm pretty sure it would have killed me. I already have a ton of inflammation. I know. Lots of people feel like that, and it's right. Heiko doesn't like women unless they're to serve him. He's a very strong man, isn't he? He's a very big man. That's interesting. That's it. I gotta admit, I like the guy. I like the guy very much, but I did see someone tell him off, a woman, give him a right bollocking, and he looked like he went from very big to very small very quickly, and I was like, you don't cross a lady, man. You just don't cross a lady. Just saying that. I mean, if you learn your lessons in life, you got to keep learning them over and over again. Sometimes you just got to say to yourself, there's toes you step on, and then there's women. So just saying, cancer, the $1 trillion industry. Not only that, but that was something Heiko was telling me that was very true. What they were doing isn't only creating cancer, they needed to create excess death, and they wanted to create excess death in 2019 and 2020. We saw it with certain aspects, including people being put on breathing apparatus and stuff, and other things that would likely end in death. Do not resuscitate orders going out. All of the other things that we saw were there to try and bring up excess mortality, and it did not work. Excess mortality only really happened after the vaccine started. So, say la vie. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. Dolores Cahill convinced me it was all bullshit. Yeah, well, I mean, when someone convinces you that it went to take off the glasses, like it's hard, it's to put on the sunglasses. It's hard not to see the world for what it is, and never be able to go back. It was a multifaceted thing. Too true. I wish I had more access to physical books. Yeah, me too. That's why I was really happy to get loads of them. He gave me loads. Most books are all based on Rockefeller medicine. Yeah, these are the opposite ones. I gotta say. So, in the Netherlands, does immunity to pharmaceuticals run? Is there a chance that immunity will be lifted and used as precedent for the rest of the world? Yeah, I think though that the fact that you can target an individual means that they can't hide behind something that's a big banner like that. They've got to prove what they did was they got to prove what the company did was correct, that they defended. Like, it's the other way around when it's a company. The people have got to prove that they were correct for the company. It's my brain hurts there. Be right back. I feel that all the time. Most definitely. Yeah, I told him off. Right, okay. yeah. Maybe you weren't the only one, but to be perfectly honest, that's the way it goes. Funny how the whole alt media gets mega boost during the pandemic. Oh man, what can you do? Puts a modern take on meaning, one for the road, wouldn't you say? Indeed. Back. Nice. Laugh, LOL, F around and find out when you mess up. Indeed. Well, it's coming around. I see more like people are waking up. We're almost there. We're going to do it now. Damn, I'm late again. You haven't missed anything. Change my picture. I'm about to start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, you guys are great. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. We're doing it. I am going to put it on. I hope it streams quite well because, of course, StreamYard's a bit of a crappy program at times, and I've only got a small computer. So let's hope it works. This is, and I will be in the chat. This is Inside the Trial of Bill Gates. Enjoy. As someone who's worked on the Epstein case for 7 years, I was really happy to hear you actually mention it in a courtroom. that was something that was, I've been chased around, harassed, I've been in all sorts of issues because of reporting on that case. And to hear it said out loud in the courtroom was for 6 months ago, fantasy for me and for a lot of other people, including people like Whitney Webb, who have worked really hard on this case.
In short, a medical surveillance state was established in which citizens' fundamental rights were undermined. What is defended today by respondents by invoking this official narrative. My clients assert that this official narrative and the way in which respondents have promoted, imposed, and enforced this narrative as a group has been unlawful. Due to this unlawful conduct, my clients have been misled, as a result of which they have received a COVID-19 injection. Until then, to this day, the defendants maintain that the use of these COVID-19 injections was a necessity and that these injections qualify as a safe and effective vaccine against the, according to the official narrative, new disease COVID-19. That the defendants do not refute this narrative and continue to defend it is clearly evident from the case documents I have submitted in this procedure. As a result of the COVID-19 injections, there is little left of my client's health. We wanted to be here with the three of us today. I must excuse one of my clients due to illness that is so severe they cannot be here. I consider it a miracle that I still have two by my side today. It is for this reason that my clients have the right and interest in hearing the fair and independent experts they have put forward, who will testify under oath before a judge in a process with the possibility of hearing both sides. Only in this way can my clients assess their chances in a substantive procedure they intend to initiate. The court in Leeuwarden has deprived them of this opportunity, and I will therefore explain to you why this violated fundamental norms that ensure access to a fair trial.
So, here we are, as always in Amsterdam, you know, never far away from the waterside, especially in this case. We are here at the Court of Appeals for the trial of Bill Gates and others who stand accused of using a countermeasure for a bioweapon as a vaccine, which is an honest accusation as well. It's an honest accusation because that's exactly what's happened. For those who don't know, the vaccine rollout was after a leak from a Wuhan laboratory. Of course, a lot of this came out in America. I'd already been doing research on the Welcome Five, Jeremy Farrar and others who helped with the cover-up of the SARS proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 paper, the infamous paper. And really, what people want is some form of justice. As you see, written up there, Palace van Justitie. And as you see over here, I think this sign probably captures it the best. Justitie equals theatre. Justice equals theatre. And true enough it is. Justice equals theatre. The big buildings, grand buildings, and this is about time that something like this is happening. But as you see, there's no line of people demonstrating outside. a very small group. Those two. How are you both?
Yeah, good.
And you're here, obviously, protesting today.
Yes.
And what's you protesting?
Well, there is a trial, which we call a political trial, because of the refusal of our Justice Department for the hearing of witnesses.
Is this
in the process against Bill Gates?
Yep, I'm going to that trial today, so I know a lot of the witnesses.
That's why we tell them we are aware that you're making a theater of it instead of speaking the truth and justice.
Yeah, and having justice.
Normally, you could have your witnesses in any trial, and here they just refuse it. So
no, most courts won't take the case, won't even look at the case. True. And the case is pretty strong. The case being that the actual
it's the truth.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
So it's strong enough.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm supposed to be objective, but to be perfectly honest, I was writing about this as soon as COVID started, and I've been writing about it all the way through.
This is the Openbaar Ministerie. So that's our government.
Yeah.
And there's a bridge between the government and the Palace of Justice.
Yeah.
How symbolic do you want it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not normal.
I know. Yeah, I would like to see loads of people out here, to be honest.
Yes. Well, there are some.
I know.
Already.
I know.
The fighters are here.
Yeah, I know.
Like us.
Indeed.
Where are you from?
I'm from Cardiff. I'm from Cardiff in South Wales.
Yeah, I know.
It's,
I've got a cousin in Bristol.
Right, I lived in Bristol once upon a time. It's a lovely place,
So
excellent. Hello, everybody. I'm here outside, of course, what's called the Gerechtshof Amsterdam. It's hard to actually pronounce. And I'm here, of course, to attend what's called the trial of Bill Gates. Many people are turning up now. It starts in about half an hour, 40 minutes. I'm sure people have to check in. I will have to do the same as well as I go into the courtroom. I'm hoping that there is some form of feeling that we're getting towards justice here, but as you just heard from the guys who are holding the sign out there, they don't have much hope for it because of their experience, and their experience has been the same experience that a lot of people have around here. Let's switch this around. So here we are at what is the Gerechtshof Amsterdam, the Netherlands Commercial Court, because this is one of the only courts that would accept the case. And of course, I'm going to stop filming as I walk in, but it is extremely interesting. This is my first time coming into a courtroom like this.
All right. After the appellant's notice of appeal, we received 4 statements of defense. I also received a letter dated 7th December with a USB stick attached, and subsequently 2 more documents were submitted by the appellant, documents 6 and 7. That is the file we have before us today. We have a tight schedule for today, and we are still just barely on time. So I wanted to start right away with the first round on the appellant's side. So, Mr. Stassen, you will soon have 1 hour to plead your case. Do you have a plea note?
I have, but if you allow me, I would first like to make a point of order. Your court has rightly given the instruction that the respondents must be present here in person today. And I have truly not seen a valid reason why they are not here today. Their numerous absences are not just a big middle finger to your court and my clients, but also, if I may be so bold, to the entire world. With their absence, the respondents make an ultimate attempt to kill the procedural debate that should take place here today. It is precisely the context of the request that I am here today that should be the subject today. And even if it is merely about assessing the admissibility of the appeal, that is still the case. And I will return to this in my plea. I find this really very serious, and I also point out to your court that you do not have to accept this. This case is too important for that, too important for society. And you have, of course, the right under the Code of Civil Procedure, more specifically Article 22, to order the respondents to further explain their positions or to submit documents related to the case. And as will become clear from my plea, there is every reason to do so. And I find with this enormous absence of respondents who are obliged to come, have been invited, your court, you should not close the oral proceedings today in any case. I believe it is up to the court to use its discretionary powers here. And that serves only one interest, which is the interest in the truth. And that is also the core interest of my client that must be served. And so I wanted to note that I find it a very serious matter and also a great disappointment that, yes, they simply do not appear and withdraw from the debate. The second point I want to make, but I will be very brief about it, you applied the press guideline in the previous session at first instance. I expressed fundamental objections to it. I am only telling you that, and I will not draw any further conclusions from it.
No, that first point, yes, that you draw a conclusion from that, because, of course, the parties are free to appear with or without a lawyer or in person.
Well, the invitation from the court was very clear. It stated in person, right, and alone, and that is your invitation, and in fact, parties should simply listen to that out of respect for your court. And they did not do that.
Your opinion, your view is noted. Yes. Do you want to say something about that, sir? No? Would you like us to do something with it now? Or do you say,
I'll leave it
well,
up to you.
Fine. Well, okay, then I'll leave it at that observation. Your opinion is noted, and it is indeed up to the parties to appear with or without a lawyer. Today we are discussing a rather legal matter, namely, can the professional ban be broken? Well, and the decision for the parties to appear with a lawyer, that is up to them at this moment. Mr. Stassen, you now have the opportunity to plead. I will keep you strictly to the time. We are 5 minutes behind, but that means you can also go 5 minutes over the time, so you have until 20 minutes past 12. I see that you have a plea note. What I forgot to mention is that the interpreters, if there are 3 interpreters present, they are attending the session via a video connection elsewhere in this building.
Honorable High Court, esteemed chairperson, interested parties, today we are dealing with a matter of global importance. That is a fact, because my client's request is directed against the implementers of the COVID-19, the Great Reset Project, in which the COVID-19 mRNA injections are crucial.
The sound is fixed, I understand.
You can only reach a balanced judgment in this case if you consider the facts and circumstances under which the request was made. It is about the context of the request. An important part of the grievances against the initial ruling was that the judge did not, or at least insufficiently, consider that context. In this plea, I will convince you that this alone violated fundamental norms for a fair trial. This is so serious that breaking the prohibition on legal remedies is a necessity. This is because otherwise my clients have no access to a fair trial. Therefore, the context of the case is of enormous importance for assessing the admissibility of this appeal. To make you aware of the context of this case, I will first address the official COVID-19 narrative and contrast it with a number of facts that are now widely known. I note that since the filing of the appeal, there is also a new development. It concerns such important new facts that the complaint that the context of the case was not considered can now be substantiated with facts. I am therefore primarily of the opinion that presenting these new facts is not in conflict with the two-conclusion rule from Article 347 of Civil Procedure. And alternatively, I take the position that the strict application of the two-conclusion rule leads to a conflict with proper legal procedure because there is a new development.
I don't know what it's about, but
is less good.
There's probably a speaker malfunction. Okay.
Speak well into the microphone, as loudly as possible.
Let me take you to the official COVID-19 narrative of the respondents, because I just explained to you, I will compare that with facts of general knowledge. Let me remind you what, according to the implementers of the COVID-19 project, and thus also the respondents in this procedure, the official narrative is. We can easily find that narrative in Dutch legislation. It is important to note that this narrative from governments and international organizations, including the UN and NATO, is the same worldwide. The only explanation for this is that the COVID-19, the Great Reset Project, is a global project, so a project of globalists. Back to that official narrative. According to the respondents in this case, it is as follows. In December 2019, a new coronavirus emerged in the Wuhan region in China, initially referred to as novel coronavirus 2019 nCoV, and now formally named SARS-CoV-2, severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. In the Netherlands, the developments around the virus have been closely monitored. On January 28, 2020, the virus was, on the advice of the Outbreak Management Team, the OMT, classified as belonging to Group A, as referred to in the Public Health Act. And all provisions of the Public Health Act that apply to infectious diseases belonging to Group A have been declared applicable to the control of the virus epidemic. That is the official narrative. Placing the presumed virus in Group A had far-reaching legal consequences. As a result, a legal reporting obligation for this presumed new infectious disease was established in the first place. Secondly, all control authorities from the Public Health Act were activated. And thirdly, the Minister of Medical Care became responsible for leading the control of this allegedly new disease. In short, a medical surveillance state was established in which citizens' fundamental rights were undermined. What is defended today by respondents by invoking this official narrative. My clients assert that this official narrative and the way in which respondents have promoted, imposed, and enforced this narrative as a group has been unlawful. Due to this unlawful conduct, my clients have been misled, as a result of which they have received a COVID-19 injection. Until then, to this day, the defendants maintain that the use of these COVID-19 injections was a necessity and that these injections qualify as a safe and effective vaccine against the, according to the official narrative, new disease COVID-19. That the defendants do not refute this narrative and continue to defend it is clearly evident from the case documents I have submitted in this procedure. As a result of the COVID-19 injections, there is little left of my client's health. We wanted to be here with the three of us today. I must excuse one of my clients due to illness that is so severe they cannot be here. I consider it a miracle that I still have two by my side today. It is for this reason that my clients have the right and interest in hearing the fair and independent experts they have put forward, who will testify under oath before a judge in a process with the possibility of hearing both sides. Only in this way can my clients assess their chances in a substantive procedure they intend to initiate. The court in Leeuwarden has deprived them of this opportunity, and I will therefore explain to you why this violated fundamental norms that ensure access to a fair trial. Those facts of general knowledge. How does that official narrative, which defendants as executors of the COVID-19 project defend as the Great Reset, relate to facts that are now of general knowledge? Not exhaustively, I will mention a few that you should not have missed, but before I do that, I will make a very important remark. When I mention facts of general knowledge, it partly concerns facts that are the result of a reality controlled, preferred, and thus deceitful by the respondents. It is therefore partly about lies that have been made part of a new normal by the executors of the COVID-19 project, the Great Reset. I will return to this later in my explanation. I am now speaking about those facts that are now generally known because they have been admitted by the official authorities and made public or are widely recognized by the public as true facts. And with this, I come to a list of facts that are now generally known. The alleged new disease, COVID-19, caused by the coronavirus was never more dangerous than a mild flu. This is also confirmed by Professor John Ioannidis of Stanford University in California, and now also by the WHO itself. The PCR test cannot detect infections, as repeatedly publicly stated by its inventor, Nobel Prize winner Kary Mullis, and also by former Pfizer Vice President Dr. Mike Yaden, German University Professor Dr. Klaus Stöger, American University Professor J.J. Guay, Italian Professor Gabriele Segala, and the Canadian doctors Dr. Mark Trozzi and Dr. Roger Hodkinson, who all confirmed that the alleged dangers of the coronavirus and the disease COVID-19 never existed, but that the population was panicked by political orders. The Administrative Court of Osnabrück, Germany, made a very important ruling on September 3rd, 2024. This ruling has been published, and I have included the ECL number as a note in this plea. This ruling was met by judges who, like you, are judges in Europe, and you must not look away from what they have established as facts in that case. In short, the case was about the legal obligation to receive a COVID-19 injection or to have proof of recovery from COVID-19 in order to be allowed to work in a hospital and in certain contact professions. The Constitutional Bundesverfassungsgericht in Germany had tested this regulation against the German Constitution and deemed it permissible. For that reason, the case brought before the Verwaltungsgericht on this matter was in principle inadmissible. The Administrative Court, however, declared itself admissible in that case based on new facts and new perspectives. These new facts and circumstances mainly concerned the interim released, partially redacted protocols of the RKI crisis team, which we call the OMT here. The Verwaltungsgericht studied those protocols and concluded that the COVID-19 injections did not provide effective protection for the vulnerable in society against infection, and that for that reason alone, it was already established in the year 2022 that with this false narrative of an effective vaccine and the legal obligations in Germany based on it for certain professionals were in conflict with the Constitution.
In the court, they've decided to actually postpone the hearing. I'm outside now, so here we go. This is out, of course. This is very interesting. Of course. Why block independent voices under oath? Vaccine harms and excess mortality demand. For anybody who knows my work, they would also know that I've been heavily, of course, censored for my work on COVID. That's interesting. Here we go. This is something that makes a lot of sense now as well, because of the Epstein case in general, which is the amount of redactions one gets. That's crazy. The amount of redactions that happen is pretty maddening. But here we go. There's people gathering outside here, outside the Palace of Justice. And to be perfectly honest, the people here don't feel like they've got any justice. Of course, that's usually the way it is, though, isn't it? I'm going to talk to a couple of people. That's right. Right, here you go. I'm here with Joseph Sansone. How do you feel it went today?
You know, it's hard to grasp it because they do things a little differently here in the Netherlands than they would in, say, Florida, where I'm from. I think that Attorney Peter Stassen lit it up. I think he really ignited the courtroom with a lot of evidence and information about the harms of the shots, Dr. Boyle's view and so on. And I put a lot of information in front of the court. What I found really amazing was that the defendants' attorneys, Pfizer, Gates and Burla and all of them, they really stonewalled. They really, I would expect them to focus on procedural issues, but they could have given a better explanation of their point of view. Instead, they just made like a quick statement, clamped down, and didn't say anything else. And to me, that came off real badly. I'd have to feel that the judges might have felt that way too. Whether it impacts the case or not, I don't know.
Do you think that is acceptable, the idea that you're looking for justice and the one side is saying this is our case and the other side says, well, we're not even going to bother trying to defend it, or even, and we're just going to is that a way to stonewall? Is that just going to reflect badly, or is that just a part of the cover-up?
I think it's maybe all of the above. I think that it shows a belief that we're untouchable from their perspective. I don't think they are, though. I think that when the pendulum switches in the other direction, I think that these people are going to learn the meaning of the word fear.
Yeah.
I think they've injured. So these are biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. They're causing diseases. They're harming people. Autoimmune diseases, heart problems, cancers, you name it. And it's like people are just looking the other way, pretending it's not happening. And we all know people that are sick and dying from these shots. And the sad reality is most people we know will die from these shots. They will have a shortened lifespan. Now, I don't know if you're 35 years old and you only live to be 63 because you develop a heart condition instead of 80, well, that's 17 years they stole off your life.
Yeah.
And they've done this with people of all different age categories. And there are some studies, Santiago and Oler and others, that show, that study I think showed like a 50% drop in lifespan with each shot.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you're going to die tomorrow if you get the shot. Don't take it the wrong way. But I mean, if you have identical twins and you give one of them asthma, if not going to live as long as the one who's totally healthy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be that. It's not that complicated. The doctors I talked to are saying that most of the people who got the shots have autoimmune problems.
Yeah.
And so you could have cancers develop that, all kinds of problems. So, yeah, I think that the way that the defense just refused to almost participate is, I think, showing that they think they can get away with these crimes.
Testament to the people that they are representing, who also believe that they're above the law and above justice itself.
You know what? The high and mighty fall too. And when this swings the other way, you want to get out of the way because it's going to be ugly.
That's a beautiful way to end it, Joe. Thank you. But this is the Court of Appeal in Amsterdam. And what have they done? They've not listened to any of the testimony, and instead they partially dropped the case to an extent. They're going to decide on a verdict in April. But I think that means that the verdict is going to be that they don't want anything done about it, that they don't want the case to continue, and they're going to just throw it aside when it does come up in April. There's another case in the Netherlands in October. So that's going to be one, again, that is very, very important.
Talk about, but you're going to hear about what went down. Sasha Latypova, of course, Peter Stassen, the attorney, is up right now, and he's going to be speaking about what happened today in court. Dr. Joe Sansone is here as well, and just an amazing group of freedom-loving Dutch people with a couple Americans thrown in, and it's really great. So there are many ways that we can look at what happened today in court.
So here we go.
With all the takeaways.
We are at this lovely venue. It's got a fantastic pizza oven. Hello. It's got a fantastic looking pizza oven. Is that a pizza oven? Yeah. It's beautiful. This is a lovely place. Really like it here, and we've been welcomed here very much so.
Introduction. Today is the press conference. I will always say a few things. I also think it's good to express and to explain some more things. What happened today? Today was, I think, historic. And why it was historic? Because we had the chance to be very clear and to show very well what is actually happening if we look at the role of our defendants, which are executors of the project COVID-19, the Great Reset. Before we went in the courtroom, and Abe already said it was an appeal, there was the evidence of our great experts, Sasha Latypova, Joseph Sansone, Catherine Austin-Fist, Catherine Watt, and who I forget? Mike Eden. The great Mike Eden. This evidence was lying there in the court. The judges had seen it, and they know that COVID-19 is not a vaccine, but a bioweapon. That's the sad truth. And this truth needs to be heard. So, when the court in Leeuwarden rejected my request to hear these 5 great experts, there was only one thing possible, and it is to appeal. And one of the things that made it legally interesting is that our law is stating you cannot appeal. So when the law is stating you cannot, then you know you have to do it. And there was a way to make this happen, because our case law says if fundamental rights in a litigation are not taken into consideration by the judge, then you can appeal anyway. And what's more fundamental than the truth? There's nothing more fundamental than the truth, because without truth you cannot have a fair trial. That's impossible. So my basic argumentation is there was no truth. So this was not a fair trial. And what I did today is I explained the judges, the raadsheren as we call them in the Netherlands, that the official COVID-19 narrative is fake. And we just need to look at the commonly known facts which are already there today. You don't even need experts for that, because it's already commonly known, for example, that this whole COVID-19 fake was nothing more than a mild flu. So this and other facts I explained to the judges, and one I want to tell, I also explained that we nowadays have the Epstein files, and this is a novum, and these files help us a lot, because what governments say, and also the Dutch government, they say all this complot theorieën, as we say in Dutch, all this conspiracies, thank you, I have the best audience in the world. All these conspiracies are not true. And now we have the Epstein files telling us that there is an evil elite which is against humanity and is trying to rob and kill us. It's as clear as can be. The truth is out. So the first thing the judges had to consider is the fact that the state of the Netherlands was lying to them when the state of the Netherlands says that all these conspiracies of an evil elite are not true. So that was a nice novum to bring in. And you see that time is also on our side. We are getting stronger and stronger. Yeah. We are winning the information war. And for the people who could see the reality in the courtroom, it was very clear, because we could state all these facts, and I had the great help of Sasha Latypova and Joseph Sansone standing behind me, and I could explain today what was written in their expert testimonies, which, as I told, are lying at the court. They know what's true. It's a bioweapon. I can explain, thanks to Dr. Francis Boyle, who passed away, but I can still give his message through Joseph Sansone to the court. It's like, they know, they cannot deny. And I could also explain the great work of Sasha Latypova and what's really true with regard to these injections. And then it's as clear as can be. And what everybody in the public could see is that all these defendants act together and shut their mouth. It's the mafia silence code, exercised in your face. One lawyer speaking for 3 or 4 minutes, saying this is a safe and effective vaccine, and that's it. So I think it was a very good day. Even when the outcome we need to wait, it's April 9, but it was a very good day anyway, because words have been spoken in court that had to be said. Yes. And I'm very grateful that, thanks to the foundation, which can use a lot of more money, but thanks to the foundation, it's possible for me to serve my clients in this case, which is much bigger than myself, much bigger than even my clients, and I am very humble to say that I can do this. It's a privilege. And I also want to really thank, which Abe already said, the fact that journalists, true journalists, because not true journalists never show up, that true journalists are here today to bring this news to the world, which is really important. Really important, and we are such a small, we are all very small, but together we are very big. And when we join forces to get out this message and to get out this truth, then we will win in a psychological, we will win the spiritual battle. It's also a spiritual battle, don't forget it. You see the legal side of it in court, but in the first place it's a spiritual battle. We need to fight for the truth, and we cannot give up. So this is what happened today, and I think that's in general what I wanted to say about that. And if the press has any specific questions, then I'm happy to answer. And of course we have as guest speakers today Sasha Latypova and Joseph Sansone. So all your questions can be answered today, and we will take all the time for that which is needed. Thank you.
Nou Peter, hartelijk dank. We beginnen met het vragenuurtje. Dus mensen die vragen hebben, stel ze rust. We gaan niet weg voor alle vragen beantwoord zijn. Dus we hebben geen probleem met de tijd. Dus alsjeblieft, stel je vragen, stap voor stap. Ik laat de microfoon gewoon doorgaan misschien, dat mensen achterin zijn of zo die een vraag willen stellen. Dan geef ik deze microfoon wel door. Dan kan Peter gewoon zijn microfoon houden voor het antwoord. De man uit Engeland, heeft u misschien questions?
Yes, sir. Have you questions, Peter?
What do you think the judges' appetite for being put in a position where they've got to effectively, by the absence of a debate today by the respondents, they've got to say whether there really was a pandemic and were the vaccines safe and effective? Those are big questions for those judges to face. Have they got the minerals to come to the right?
That's a good question, of course, and that's something for them to prove. We need to realize that today the court hearing was about the admissibility, if I say correct in English, about this appeal, because I explained, in fact, an appeal is not in the law. We need to find it in case law. And so what happened, and I found it a bad sign, is that the High Court said to the lawyers of the defendants, before they had to put in their written statements, that they only needed to react on the question if this case is admissible or not. And of course I've seen this and I was not very happy with it, but I also thought about it. And I think there's no way you can say something about the admissibility of this case without discussing the full context. And that's the reason why I didn't object when I saw it. I could have revenged the court, I thought about it, but I think let's not do it. Let's bring it to court and bring the truth. And now these judges have heard the story, they have seen what happens at the other side. And I gave them some examples of brave judges who did their job. And the question is, do they want to be a brave judge or not? And legally everything is possible. You can grant it, you can deny it, and you can do a lot in between. And we need to wait. So I don't want to speak about if they have the minerals before they gave the decision. Yeah.
Well, we know that the institution of our judiciary in the UK has been corrupted. I think this is a case which is going to show us how corrupt or uncorrupt the judiciary is in the Netherlands, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question. At the beginning, you mentioned to the panel of judges that the defendants had not attended, they didn't show up again when they were required to show up. Can you expand on that? Because it seems to me that that was quite dismissive and smug of them to not attend a hearing that they were supposed to be at. So I'm just wondering what you thought about that.
Very good question. We have of course 18 defendants, and you saw something on a television screen, which was one employee or something of Pfizer and one of the defendants saying nothing on a screen. So in fact nobody was there. So before the court started with giving me the possibility to do my plea, I made a remark about that, and I said to the court, well, you ordered that these people should be in this courtroom. This was in your letter. What was written there was very clear. They had to come in person. That's what this letter, it will be published also on the website of the Recht of Recht Foundation. Everybody can read, they had to come in person.
Including Bill Gates?
Including Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, because we only, except the state of the Netherlands, only have real people from flesh and blood which need to come. And we are not making our litigations against companies. We want people to defend themselves and show what they did. And it was clear, nobody was there. So I said to the judges, in our law is the discretional power of the court to say to people who don't show up that they can do this via their lawyers, they can say, I do not stop this litigation, we will do this another time, you need to come back, you need to give written statements, because a judge needs to have information. So my first remark in this respect was that they didn't show up. This was a big middle finger to the court, to my clients, and in fact to all the world. And that the judge should use the powers that he has, the court should use the powers he has to make these people answer. And that's why I said to the court, you should not close the case today, you should wait and you should give them instructions. And in the end, the court was very soft on this, which I didn't like, but they know I don't like. Yeah.
Do the Dutch have contempt of court? Do they have anything in the way of contempt of court?
If you mean that if a lawyer has the possibility to revenge the court?
I mean, no, if Bill Gates or Bourla are told they should turn up and they don't turn up,
yes,
would
we
it
have
be classed as contempt of court?
Yes, we have some articles in our law about that, which say that if a party doesn't cooperate, the judge has a lot of freedom to decide whatever he wants. And I also told in this respect to the judge, you can even grant our request because they didn't show up. That's the ultimate thing you can do, and I said you have to do it because this is so obscene that they are not there. This is something which should suit this situation. So yes, we have.
I have a question. Peter, I'm so proud of you, so grateful for you. You are a great lion and giant of a man. You sat before a bunch of paid Muppets in gowns today, a bunch of paid Muppets, and you spoke the truth, and you told them what's what, and you did not hold back. You did the world proud, and I want you to be proud of yourself. But what did it feel like, darling?
It feels very good to have the chance to speak the truth, and it's always very special if a lawyer doesn't need to lie. So, and in this case, I do not need to lie.
Yes. Well done, we love you.
For me, it's a very easy case. There are no lying on my side.
When the Pfizer attorney started saying that the vaccines were safe and effective, the whole courtroom burst out in laughter. Do you think that is embarrassing to them, or do you think it has anything, do you think it got under their skin or anything like that?
Yeah, that's maybe a better question for Joseph Sansone, because he's the psychologist here. But until now, they didn't show any feelings, so I don't know.
So I'm Dr. Joseph Sansone, I'm a psychotherapist opposed to psychopathic authoritarianism. So the official diagnosis here is psychopathic authoritarian disorder. I just created that, but I like it. You've got people that are sadistic in nature. They derive pleasure of causing pain in other human beings. And they successfully tapped into the everyday sadism of the average person in order to bring about this horrific thing we've seen over the last 5 years. They tapped into the everyday narcissism as well. So you're dealing with sick, twisted, manipulated people. People that are manipulate. Look, people that lie for a living make a lot of money, and you're dealing with people that do not value human life, even though when it's a potential threat to the human species, as these injections pose.
Hallo, ik ben Pim Christiaans van de andere kant. Do I have to do this in English? Okay, I'll try. During your the case, you mentioned that going against the narrative can be quite dangerous. You named Francis Boyle, you mentioned Reinier Fulmich, but you didn't say anything about your own colleague Arno van Kessel. Can you explain why you omitted him?
As you can see from the whole Van Kessel case, I never comment on this case. And this rule I also applied today. Yeah.
But is this because you don't have to involve him in the case, just to mention him, just like you mentioned the other names that you mentioned?
I think we should look at this case, and that's why I was here for today. Yeah.
Is he is home now after more than 250 days being in prison. Is he in any way at this moment playing a role again in this case?
No, because he's not a lawyer, so this means formally that he has no role, and that's also what's really happening. Yeah.
So there's no contact whatsoever, also not in an advising role or whatsoever?
I don't comment, but I am the lawyer here and I'm doing the work. Yeah.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Epstein files will be able to fundamentally change the lookout of the judges?
Yes, if they are open to the truth, then it should fundamentally change their point of view. Another thing, what I explained in regard to the Epstein files, is also that it's a psychological operation, because people will get very much demoralized by the fact that nothing is happening, because people should be arrested, not hundreds but thousands of people should be arrested, but they are not.
There we go.
And what I explained to the judges is that this COVID-19, the Great Reset project, which is about the Great Reset, the reset of everything, and that also means that our institutions need to be broken down and replaced by other ones. And this demoralization project, these Epstein files, are playing a crucial role in that. And it was also for me a possibility to give a warning, to look very critical what they are doing with these Epstein files. Because on the one hand, they are learning us a lot about the evil elite, which is there, which is clear. And on the other hand, they don't give us the possibility yet to really act on what I called Pizzagate, where I said to the judge, if you don't know what it is, look it up for yourself. So I think there's also a very clear, and I don't think, I know, there's also a very clear psychological effect from these Epstein files, and we need to realize that we don't need to throw away our institutions, because then they will replace them by the institutions we really don't want. We need to cure our institutions, so we need to take out the people who are not good, or better say, children of the devil. I also made that comparison. These we need to take out. That I cannot do as a lawyer, but society can do that. And that was one of the reasons I told a lot about these Epstein files as a new fact.
One final question, if I may. You stated that it's crucial that the witnesses will be heard under oath. So what will happen to your case if this is being rejected?
Well, if we have two cases here, so this is the case on gathering the evidence, is a request procedure. Of course, the chance is there that there are two outcomes, or they grant our request or they deny it, and then we need to live with it. So if they deny it, then you can be very sure that I will find other ways to get these experts in court. Yeah.
There we go.
I forgot my question, but no, I'll take it. I do have a question for you, but I think you raised a point over there about people being persecuted for telling the truth, and obviously I think you've got a few people sat here. Heiko Schöning, who was arrested several times and quite brutally in London. You've got Andrew Bridgen, an MP, who not only lost his whip, he got accused of saying some bad things just for speaking the truth, and ultimately lost his seat, and myself arrested under the Terrorism Act and beaten in custody. I've seen the worst side of the justice system and started my law degree 2 years ago. So coming from, I think, our perspective from 6 years ago, I got goosebumps in the courtroom today, and I only got translations. I didn't even get every word. And that meant a lot for a lot of people who've been through hell, who have suffered for telling the truth in so many different ways, not just being an expert, not just being a doctor, but being an activist or a parliamentarian. And are you worried for yourself? Are you concerned that you said some brutal truths? You dropped atomic bombs in that courtroom. The word, elite, satanic, Epstein files, Bill Gates is a criminal. The bioweapon, it's all fake. You said some things that we have been screaming, and people in this room have been screaming for 6 years, and never did we think it would be said in a court of appeal. So I feel like I'm in a movie right now, but I'm also I'm a realist, and Centre as well has been there. So are you fearful for yourself, based on following on from what you said?
No, I'm not fearful, because I think fear is not the right advisor. I cannot establish if there is a risk or not. It could be true, it could be not true. Until now, nothing happened to me. And I believe that nothing will happen to me until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's why we all need to be here, and we need to spread this message. That's why I'm here from the UK, and many people have travelled. Shannon from the USA has come here, and it is so important that this message is spread worldwide, and we keep pushing it out, because they do certain things to bury certain things, and this is one thing that can't be buried. So I want to thank you from myself and for what you're doing for the vaccine injured and bereaved, non-vaccine, bioweapon injured and bereaved. But just thank you. Honestly, I'm fangirling.
Thank you, I'm honored.
There you go. Fangirl. And she's in the chat now as well. And yeah, certainly spicy. I was tongue-tied because she was fangirling. Yeah, Ruby Gem for Freedom. Great to meet you. Got a fantastic energy. There were some really fantastic people there. It was a pleasure to be around not only like-minded people, but people with loads of energy, and the people who were there were the people I think who have got some of the most energy. They're the most, they were like, this is an opportunity to go and see history. This could be extremely historic if we push for it, if we allow it, if we keep going with it. It's really important to keep it going. It's quite sad. I see Andy Cooper says free rhinophobic. I've got someone coming on. It's very interesting. I got someone coming on to talk about rhinophobic. And he's done a lot of work on rhinophobic, and I've said free rhinophobic a fair few times, but I think he has been pretty much a naughty boy. Gotta say, just gotta say that. And there you go. Joe says, right, nice fangirling. I still say free rhinophobic. I like rhinophobic very much. I went on his show twice. He had me on when, of course, we were banned. Everybody was banned from, in my field at least, everybody was banned from most of the shows. And if you did go on platforms, sometimes people's channels got pulled down, or the videos got content warnings. I know I've had that a few times with different people I've had on. I know it's like, there's a lot of there's no such thing as vaccine. There's no such thing as viruses, and flat Earth people get it really systematically. They're not allowed to say whatever they believe, and whether I believe it or not, I do believe they have a right to say these things. But when we were in this area, there wasn't many places to go, and Rainer Fulmich was really important. He had me on to talk about Schwab and the rise of the World Economic Forum and how it was a CIA-funded program out of Kissinger's international seminar. That was a really important story to tell, of course, at that time, especially when COVID-19, the Great Reset, was something that was aligned because of Klaus Schwab and Thierry Mallory, their book on it. And he also had me on to talk about the Welcome 5 piece, which is what Mike Yeadon contacted me to talk about as well. And if I say, I've heard lots of people say that Rainer Fulmich is actually guilty of some form of financial crime. I got someone coming on who's going to try and persuade me of that. And I've said to him, I'm happy for you to try. But the problem they're going to have is the fact that I respect what Rainer Fulmich did at a time when other people were too scared to do it. He did it with his balls out. Sorry to say it like that. Ruby, honestly, I think I'm in love with Peter Stassen, the lawyer. He was a really sweet guy. There wasn't a bad bone in that guy's body. He was really, he was genteel. There was no hubris or anything there. So find it really interesting type of character. He had this little hunch over. He seemed like his demeanor was really gentle. It's a shame that I couldn't do more than 20 minutes of dubbing for his piece. And I was thinking, and I really would love to get a copy on computer so I could actually translate it and I could do a read through of it. Because it goes on later on. I understood certain parts of it, and I think it was really important. It should be something people hear. I think it's historic. I was not convinced they were actually bioweapons, like I'm not convinced nukes exist, but I'm always open to more evidence. Accept that point of view. I accept that point of view. Most definitely. Great energy, nice. Yeah, I love energy. I guess my TV is lagging, so now basically phone here. Yeah, you got issues. You got issues. Whatever happened to him? Rainer Fulmich, well, he's in prison at the moment. That's the way it works sometimes. Banning is a new normal promotional tool. Yes, it is. Why? Yeah, I know. This is something very interesting. One of the first, when I started writing, I've had like loads of people enter into my life. So sometimes I have people come into my world, like it happened yesterday. My community now know they've experienced Italian intelligence, Vatican intelligence, sitting amongst them, pretending, putting on this like show in front of them, and they've all seen it and they've all seen the results, and so they're a little bit wiser. My whole community's wiser. And someone walked in the other day and looks like it's another Italian plant living right opposite the place I do most of my work. It's amazing how they do it. But one of the first times that happened, when I was writing very early on, it was about 2018, around then, 2017, 2018. I had a Mexican come into my life and start feeding me drugs. He would basically give me lots of psychedelics and try and convince me that the earth was flat. He was desperate to do it. And I think it's a really interesting thing, because they know they can just get those people banned. So you're not allowed to talk. I don't understand why would they. It's just the way they are. There might be reasons why they're banning them. Hey guys, it's flat. Listen, I'm willing to listen. Are they afraid we're going to find caves? Looking into it. No, we'll find out that actually Terramar, when Ghislaine Maxwell was designing Terramar. That's just the world we live in. That's just actually what they've designed, and in the past, and we're living in there. Oh man! And Cthulhu is back. The lines of reality are being blurred. That's Cthulhu. I like that lawyer. He's one of the few who really does seem to care. He's really gentle, really nice guy. I really like people who are humble and sweet and stuff, and he was. So I really. He also, some of the things he said, he was really concise and he was really passionate about it, and he wasn't scared to push all of the buttons in exactly the right way. And the case was prepared in a very clever way to go in with so much fact. They're not, when I write an article, if anybody goes and reads like the Pottinger series or the Pottinger Ultimatum or one of the Youngman pieces, they'll find there's links, loads of links all throughout it. Because I learned this especially when working with Whitney Webb, when we were looking into One Nation Under Blackmail, and I was researching for that. You have to keep every single source you possibly can for nearly every one or two lines. You need to have a really strong source. Things do not go in the article unless it's a really good source. There has to be a really good source. And what that does is it means that the articles can't, I don't have people come and approach me and try and undermine my articles. There's no point in it because it's all fact. They just ignore me and they ban me and they censor me. So then I know I'm doing the right thing. But this case is built like that. It's built very strongly on fact. These came, all of the different vaccines were all produced by the same company, Emergent Biosolutions. And they're just, that is a really shady company. Heiko did a lot of work into that. It's really interesting. I've just been starting to read his book, so I like the amount of information and how he presents them. And he gave me a pack of cards with all the faces on. Seems like a real gentleman. Yeah, that Peter is. He does seem like that. Was there some internal argument? I think we've. I missed what you were talking about. Like when the X-Files aired, laugh a lot, conspiracy bad, but no conspiracy lost in a pit of drivel. Well, it's fifth generation warfare. A lot of this is fifth generation warfare. That is true. The lines are being blurred, the uncanny valley. Wish it would magically happen here in America. America's in trouble, though. I gotta say, I don't like being pessimistic, but bloody hell, we've been seeing a civil war coming for quite a while. I think everybody's seen a civil war coming for quite a while. Katie, he really does care. He spoke with such passion in court. Yes, he did. Quite emotional at the end. He's basically not even paid properly. A foundation is fundraising for this. He really cares. He said things that other solicitors wouldn't say. He clearly understood the topic really well. And people don't often understand how little solicitors actually understand what they're speaking about most of the time. Most of them just turn up and wing in things. A lot like people on the independent media, to be honest. I've done that a couple of times, but I'm not a solicitor. So there you go. He's still in there. Yeah, he is. I'm convinced that's Rhinoformic, I suppose you're talking about. I'm convinced they're bioweapons, at the very least, toxic by design. Yes. I think the spike protein that was taken out of the HIV virus and stuck in the furin cleavage site in a place where nature wouldn't touch it, I reckon that's a big sign to that. I tend to think that COVID was actually evil nanoparticle dust that was programmed to behave a certain way. Hey, we're getting there. We don't worry about that. Yeah, if we get to that, then we got real trouble. As soon as they got flying nanodust, we have got significant trouble. I think we're all going to be big fans of Ruby here. I'm sorry, but these people tend not to know how to act. I'm assuming it's all their access to capital. Money types tend not to blend in as easily with regular folks. Too true, my friend. Too true. I'm really glad you all turned up. to get involved as well. It's been such a vibrant chat, and on these lives, I do like the vibrant chat. It had to be funny to watch them try to convince you in that situation. It's amazing what people try and convince you of. I was having this conversation because me and Heiko sat down for 5 hours and chatted away, and we got on talking about the Vatican. At first, he thought I gotta be honest, I think he thought I was totally lying about what happened in the Vatican until he saw I'd put it into a video, including all of the phone conversation between me and the Vatican, where they admit, they literally say to me, yes, but we can't reveal the name of the Antichrist yet, and all of this, and it's just ridiculous. But really, it was just a conversation between me and Nicole Yankerman. These sort of situations that happen when you end up in reporting on intelligence, you end up in situations where you realize you're talking to someone who's trying to convince you of something, or trying to force you to do something, or try and change your mind on something. And if you know it's happening like that, you don't have to, think about this as a thought process. You don't have to think about what you do and if you accept an offer. You're not going to accept the offer. If you think someone's a spy or from the other side, you have to already be knowing that you're not going to accept their offer. So when Alessandro, the salamander, as they call him around my community, when that Italian offered me £5,000 a month to work in a bank, and I wouldn't have to go into work and I could sit in the cafe and just drink my drink, but I wouldn't be a journalist anymore. When he offered me that, I'm going to sit there and listen to him. I'm going to sit there and listen to him. I'm not going to accept it. I say to him at the end, I'm a journalist, buddy. It's not going to change. It ain't going to change. But to get to the point where you have to listen to his conversation, what he's going to offer, you have to go through a lot of listening to bullshit, listening to pretense, watch someone's fake face move, watch them try and convince you of stuff. And once you've seen it a few times, it's like, you know when someone's telling the truth, and you know when someone's telling a lie. Most people can sense it. You can kind of sense something wrong with someone, and you don't quite know why. Maybe it's something in their home life, or maybe it's something outside. But there's lots of people who try and convince you of stuff. This is one of the things that I found very special at this event, is that I didn't feel that there. I felt like there was a lot of people who were very passionate about what they were doing. So I found that very interesting. I also, the speaker issue that happened within the courtroom, I gotta say that was really suspicious. From setting up sound, and from doing music engineering, from doing mixing, from working with speakers and amps throughout my entire life, that sounded like it was a click button. That sounded like someone was switching off the actual speaker at the start to stop people hearing, and to keep it. Now that can be, we could talk about that being conspiracy theory, but that would be undervaluing the fact that we have to put it in as a potential possibility that they were trying to stop the trial from being impactful in some way, to lose energy. When we're talking about someone having good energy, well, events have energy too. We all do know that. We all live in Plato's cave. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But I think we've started to... this is like... Okay. I was having this conversation about Nietzschean philosophy yesterday. Because, like, Nietzschean philosophy, you got the Übermensch that leads to the last man, etc., etc. And these things are different concepts. The Übermensch rises to the top, and then the last man just nihilist and wants to get away from it. But Nietzsche posed them as almost separate eras. But when imagine Plato's cave, imagine, say, shadows on the wall. Imagine you're watching the person watching the shadows on the wall, and then you're watching the person watching the shadows on the wall. We've got to a point where we're aware. Like I say about once an intelligence agent comes into your life and you know it's an intelligence agent, you're aware. Your awareness leaves you as more objective than you were before. So you come from like a spectrum of, there's no just subjective to objective. There's obviously a spectrum, and you start to move away from one to the other. So I think that's an interesting analogy of the situation that we're in now. We're starting to we're in a situation where we're watching hypernormalization break apart, and then kind of like smile. For people who don't understand hypernormalization, it's really simple. It's like, they're lying, they know they're lying, they know that you're lying, and you know that they know that they're lying. So everybody is aware that it's all a lie, and everybody is aware of each other's awareness of that lie, yet they still play the game. That's stopped now. They're still doing that, but with a smile on their face as they torture us. It's a different thing. Fifth generation warfare works differently. They want you to know more than before. They turn up that dial of hypernormalization to the point where it becomes super hyper normalization. I don't know what you call it. Or we living in a simulation. A simulation on a sim. If you're one simulation, then you end up 100 million simulation deep, or infinitely simulations deep. That's a hard one to go into. DARPA lipid nanoparticles are bioweapons. Fact, yep. I agree with that. I agree with laughter too. Simulation appears to be however we think it to be. Indeed, if you look at it that way, okay, that can answer everything, and that can be a simple technique, but that could also be a fallacy. You create the illusion yourself. But it's almost like, if you actually look into that, you end up being Gnostic, and that comes up with a whole load of different stuff as well. That brings up a whole Gnosticism is a completely dangerous area to go to, and it really is close to the weirder, more esoteric things that we see happen around in the world. That's what they don't want us talking about, the subterranean places they're creating, under the ground, water terra. Yeah, completely. You're always one of the best. You're always on point. We are quantum and classical beings. Yes, we manifest. Our energetic focus is of great importance. And then Eileen come in. Eileen, I say it's probably flat, because the first thing you see when you go to kindergarten is globe. That's true enough. Yeah, you got a reason. Fifth generation warfare leaves you like that, though. We've got to be careful. I mean, this is the thing that we do, and I'm not picking on you, Eileen, here, but we go from one extreme to the other. It's like I was saying on that video I posted up yesterday, it's not like you don't either respect an animal or not respect an animal. It's like it is, you have a load of different type of respect for loads of different creatures. You respect a worm less than you respect a chicken, and you respect a tiger more than you respect an alligator. It's very complicated. It's not flat. yeah, it looks round. Everything looks round, so I'd say it's probably round. Indoctrination started in 1958. That was a very flat year. Rumble needs that sarcasm font. Yeah, maybe it's only flat if you think it is. We are heading towards a strike here. I like it. About 900 years earlier, in my opinion. Thanks, Johnny, for doing tonight. My coverage is coming Monday AM. We need to keep talking about this. Okay, excellent. People, follow Ruby Gem for Freedom. Okay, follow. Have a look at the everything, including on X as well. What's your X handle? Because I've seen you on X and I follow you, but I don't know what your handle is. So let me know what your handle is. I'll say it now. Really, like lots of people with really nice natures were at this event. I really liked it. I really liked the vibe there. And it'll be really interesting to see your coverage as well. I tried to do something tonight, which was various things, and kind of like an basically an understanding of what the case was about on all levels. But I have been fairly brief with some parts. But it is very interesting. I am God. It's not flat. Okay, God. Don't argue with him. With no fuel, Mick. and who he used to work with. Was that some sort of argument with them? That's the last I heard, but I didn't know if it was a rumor. I'm not sure. It's too complicated. I'd like to see Reiner Fumick out. I'm going to find out from, a guy's coming on my podcast. He's going to try and convince me that Reiner Fumick is a bad person. I'm going to say to him, I still like him. It's going to be hard, but still. Someone did send me a load of things about the amount of money that was moving about, and it was a lot of money. We're still talking. We're right on the flat now. I think this is one of the points of the flat Earth stuff. Is as soon as you start talking about it, it evokes that automatic reaction to say no, it's not like that at all. So that means that we're all talking about that all of a sudden, and going against your base understanding of how the world looks is how it causes some form of disturbance in the force. A solicitor, lawyer, advocate in Dutch. Advocate is what Peter was. I think it's Sheol with a dome. I'm going to skip through some of these. It is door bloody blah. Water above water below us. No, Arno van Kessel, the other lawyer in the case, arrested under false claims, just released after being held in prison for months. He was watching the press conference live, yes, crying in a good way. Indeed, that was said at the end. I cut out a bit. I'm talking on that press conference as well, I think. But I do ask about why Klaus Schwab and Thierry Mallory, seeing as they were the ones who wrote COVID-19, the Great Reset, and showed the agenda, why they weren't named on the court filings as well. And just after someone said Arno van Kessel was watching, and he was very proud of the case and where it was going, so he answered his own question, and that's what was claimed there. That it was false claims that he was arrested, and I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, you've got to give the benefit to the doubt to the bloody innocent who are being persecuted for fighting for the innocent who have already been persecuted. Just saying. Laugh my LMAO 1679. Good. Have you met Yes, who told me she interviewed you. Yes, sent her as she works for Children's Health Defense. We had an interview just in between the court hearing and the press conference. We rushed across to their hotel or their room they were staying in. They set up the cameras and we did a short interview for 45 minutes or so before the actual press conference. So hopefully that will come out in the next video. She was wonderful. What a lovely lady. We got on really well straight away. I thought she was Belgian. I had a feeling she was Belgian, unless you're capitulating, or the Belgian were capitulating to the French and you're taking it over. Just saying, I thought she was Belgian. And parts of the SV40 virus from the polio vaccine. Actually, she might have been just that she was talking about the case, the Dutroux case, quite a lot. We were having a conversation about that. Francis A. Boyle stated under oath that lipid nanoparticles are bioweapons. Let's go with it. It's true enough. Lipid nanoparticles are essentially bioweapons, I suppose. If they've made a nanoparticle, that's already you've gone too far. Explain what that saying means. Right, okay. I think I got to squeeze through. It's the waters. That's why the Terramar. Yeah, I agree. I think they're in the waters. What place on earth can be spared from those eugenist lunatics who pray for an AI god? This is the problem. AI is going to... I don't think any AI god will ever exist. But what they will do is convince you that an AI god exists by using AI, which is often indistinguishable from magic. AI can be used for loads of good reasons and loads of good ways. I was able to translate 20 minutes of this, dub it, very well dubbed as well. It very quickly and easily. That's good. That's not AI God, though. That's not AI taking over the world. So we're going to use AI in loads of different ways, but the eugenicists will use AI in their way, and they will develop it in their way, and that's what we're already seeing. Bill Gates himself was partially brought up by Barbara Marx Hubbard in the way that when he was young. If you see these pictures of him at events with her and stuff, and it's very clear that they were in with this crowd that were like, we want to be uploaded into a machine, and so you've got to create the machines that we eventually get uploaded into. So these people are all within that realm. That is for sure. As above, so below. Yes, indeed, that's what they believe. I didn't get to see the phone part. What's the title of the vid again? The Vatican thingy. It's top on my page. If you go on my page on YouTube, it's the pinned video, and it is crazy. The Vatican adventures are crazy. Good on you, Johnny, for not taking his lame offer. Yeah, it was a lame offer. Oh, I'm really far behind. It was definitely a lame offer, but no offer would have been good for me. No offer. I'm interested to hear what they're going to say, because that gives me an understanding of what they think of me and what tactics they're going to use, in my opinion. It seems like there's water above and water below, quite literally, though. Yeah. Oh, it's a hard one to have a conversation about in this video. Fake laughing is the worst. Yes, agreed. It seemed like that to me. I gave up trying to convince people of anything. You just gotta, you people come round when they come round. You're an intuitive empath. I do like hugging people. If that's terminating your thoughts, then that is a you problem. That's terminating your thoughts. Yeah, maybe. People need to discover things by themselves. You can help lead the process. Indeed, I think the Scottish lady I met, who I gave the book to about the pandemic, I don't think she would have been receptive to me when she was just around the time she was taking the vaccine. But now she was super receptive, and she was super chilled and open and willing to talk. Everybody's got to come. You can't force anybody. I won't say that out loud. I'm going to leave that one. We can all have theories. Everybody's... listen, you better not be arguing here. The security at the court offered their support, told me that they had been told to prepare for mass mainstream media presence, but none showed up. I was not shocked. They support the case. Ooh, that's very interesting. And there's a lot of people lower down who do support the case. I've got to say that. We are all on the spectrum of one kind or another. So many on the spectrum, from sociopath to psychopath. Yeah, I feel like I'm on some form of spectrum, obviously, because are we all on spectrum? Yeah, but I feel like I'm definitely a little bit autistic. Must be. I just constantly think about things in a slightly different way and act in slightly. I don't know. There's many signs, just not going to say it out loud. Oh, I said it out loud. Makes me think of the movie Inception. That's life is a bit like Inception nowadays. Movies are predictive programming indeed. Oh God, do you think Naomi Wolf is a spook and her husband and used COVID to discover? Yes, Naomi Wolf. I have trouble with Naomi Wolf. She knows that. When I got to interview her, she railroaded the interview and didn't let me say anything. But she did it very well. She's a professional railroader. She was also in Epstein's Edge, when he was fully funding Edge, before and after his conviction. And she's never really talked about any of that. She also won't talk about, the CIA influencing many of the feminist movement, much of the feminist movement, including Gloria Steinem. Me asking her in emails before to say I'm going to talk about Gloria Steinem is the reason why she railroaded the interview. I love you, Johnny. Love you, Eileen. Charlton Heston taught me about the Bible. I didn't even have to read it. And then you cock your gun after saying that, I suppose. See what I'm saying. Your farming comment was spot on. Excellent. Yes. If you're talking about the fact that most animals wouldn't be here, just saying, most animals wouldn't be here if farming didn't exist. It's a form of eugenics. Like veganism is a major form of eugenics aimed at animals. You got a new subscriber. Oh, hey, that's nice. Okay, and trust your intuition, strengthen your gut and your brain completely. I'm going to go through a bit of this pretty quick. I'm going to skip over the thank you, Flux. This is usually private hidden-ish account, never comment, but had to watch Johnny and support on YouTube. I'm mass non-compliance campaign. Listen to that, at mass non-compliance campaign. Go over there, subscribe, please. That would be good. Make me happy. Like the UN's inner development goals. Oh my God, that's scary. And then again, mass non-compliance campaign. Ovid is Latin for sheep, yes. For the flat earthers, try to explain how you can have two central points in the sky, one in the north and other in the south. Southern Cross and North Star. There you go. Okay, right. I'm going to skip through some of this. Boom, boom, boom. Of course, again, mass non-compliance campaign. Goody. AI is learning from us, programming it, not AI God. Yes, the AI God thing is a bit of a push. Naomi is a Rhodes Scholar. Yes, Rhodes Scholar's hard. You know it. Gonna watch you more often, Johnny. Pleased to have met you in Amsterdam. I'm pleased to have met you too. Hey, if you want to watch something fun that'll make you laugh and smile, watch the Vatican one that's pinned on the page. It is honestly, it's a funny old ride. And for everybody, if you want to listen to something, listen to the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical. You can find it, of course, by typing Johnny Vedmore in Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever. I had to put it out on DistroKid because Ditto Music called it one of the most offensive, racist, and there was a load of names. I put it actually on the front cover of the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical. It was such a good list of the nastiest words it could, and they refused to put it out. So honestly, go and listen to Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical. I'm going to go out on one of the songs from the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical, and I've included, I hope you all forgive my dancing. I couldn't help it. There were these lights from the hotel in Amsterdam that I was staying at the Hotel Amsterdam. They had these wonderful lights in the night, and I got back and I thought, well, maybe I could just do a tiny little bit of dancing, and I can put them on the actual clips I do in the beginning and end of these, especially on live streams. It's good to have a few minutes where people get to join and come on, and so a song's playing. And so the songs I put on here now are from the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical Part 2, which I've shown people the picture for this. I have shown people the picture, but I will find it again because it is honestly, I think it's one of my favorite creations so far. I'm trying to get the font. This isn't the completely finished version of the cover, but this is. Oh, that's not right. Right. Just got to remove that. Boop. And put this up. Yep. Let's move that off there. That's the cover for the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, the musical Part 2, which I gotta say, I think is genius. It's a pretty good cover because a lot of it is about the organization of September the 11th, of course, which is what the opening song this time was about and why a year of it was missing, and also the lobbying for the Iraq war, which is obviously what Les Wexner was doing. And so it's fantastic. Honestly, it's fantastic to play around with these things because for me, I'm a musician, been doing music for years. I've got a load of really powerful tools now to use. I can all of these songs. The song you're about to hear now started off by me with a synth board playing a song and then adding to it, and the actual bass song that this next the bass tune that this came from is on the Searching for Stanley soundtrack. It's for the Kent State Massacre. It's got fantastic. It's one of my favorite things I've written in a fair few years as well. It's got this fantastic eerie sound to it. It's wonderful, and when I've changed that over to a different style, and then I've created another Les Wexner advert. Of course, the first Jeffrey Epstein podcast musical has 2 Leslie Wexner adverts. These ones get more serious because, of course, Leslie Wexner was helping with the Luntz Wexner analysis to lobby America to go to war with Iraq so that they could make greater Israel. It was all for the benefit of Israel. It says it within the Luntz Wexner analysis too. This isn't any type of conspiracy theory. This is just the way it was. Wexner was, of course, Epstein's main funder, and Epstein was with Nicole Youngman meeting senators a month before the vote to go to Iraq. It's a really fun song. And the next one's fun song is pretty serious, though, in the same way. It's got the same sort of feeling of, you know, what I try and do in these songs is teach people a little bit about the actual history, but also take the mick a bit and be over the top. They're musicals. They're meant to be over the top. So I'm on my way out here. Whew, it's past midnight. I thank you all for joining me. Great show. Loving this channel. Thank you, Happy Hellish Death Racer. I will do loads. I will do. Thank you all. Great chat here tonight. Yeah, agreed. And go over non-compliance campaign. That's a fantastic. I'm really happy to have made some of these friends. Ain't even running out of stuff to watch. Like Kurt Metzger says, the bread is stale and the circus is boring. You know, Kurt Metzger, people tried to get me to like him. I like to talk with you all guys. Good night. Good night to you. I listened to it on Spotify. Thanks, Johnny. Great chat. Thank you to everyone. The song with the Girl Groomers lyrics was amazing. Of course, Netanyahu was a Nazi. You know it's true. Fuck you. Yes. That's from Evil Israeli War Machine, of course, which was also banned by Ditto Music for a while. I had to change it to EIW. And they've done loads of things to try and stop people listening to that. The Girl Groomer lyrics, that is a very special song. I took a time to write the lyrics to that because I really wanted it to be the perfect idea of how the girls worked within Epstein's network. Because it wasn't Epstein going out and getting the girls; it was a fleet of girls, top girls who worked under him. And that song is called Top Girls. So it is very good. Good night, Katie. Sweet dreams. Thanks to everyone. Wonderful. Love you all. We will keep in touch. Yes, we will. Now there's a rumor that BB has been unalived. Oh, well, that's, you know, what can we do? Oh, Milowski. Milowski, what are you doing, Milowski? Oh, my God. Goodbye, y'all. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. All of that nonsense. Come to Newspaste. And thank you all for joining me. A real pleasure. Enjoy Les Wexner singing Greater Israel. Oh, no. This isn't that.
It's me, the money man of mystery. Your big bad buddy, Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the planes. How about the dossier, the vials? How about Saddam? How about his trials? How about the Bin Laden terrorist fighters? How about al-Nusra Front? How about Al-Qaeda? How about the Goyim children dying in the streets? How about Greater Israel? How about the Goyim children starving at my feet? How about Greater Israel? puppet master, Epstein, the high-level disaster forecaster. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers or the claims. How about we feed you full of news? How about we trade you, we tell you what is true? How about we hurt you, lead you to our proof? How about we train you to be some and samba Jews? It's me, your Zionist zaddy, your big bad buddy Jeffrey Edward Epstein. I'm coming again to explain why Israel can't be blamed for the Twin Towers. Oh, the blood is our vows. We take back what is ours. We win the final war. We take back what is ours. We create greater Israel. We take back what is ours. We win the final war. How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about Jeffrey? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about me? How about the international money man of mystery?